There's simply no denying that Sean John Combs is an amazing songwriter, record producer, entrepreneur, record executive, television producer. The list goes on and on. I mean, let's be real, he's probably partly responsible for some of the nostalgia that we once felt growing up. However, over the years, Sean Combs has been linked to a lot of allegations tying him to a lot of heinous crimes, things that we all knew of but did nothing about.
Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
Hey, speaking of
This
love,
is love.
I saw a guy on the internet the other day who said he used to be your security guard, who said that when you were dating ZELLE, Will Smith and Jada tried to pick her up on a threesome and you were gonna beat up Will Smith. Is that true?
But this show's gotten crazier since the last time I No,
It's all about love, though. That's not true?
You really heard that?
Well, yeah, I watched it on the internet. You're telling me I can't believe everything I read?
I don't know what you're talking about. Jimmy, I thought we was friends. What is this?
Sean P. Diddy Combs was born November 4th, 1969, in the Harlem neighborhood of New York City, raised in Mount Vernon, New York by his mother Janice and his father Melvin. Now it is said that Melvin was an associate of convicted New York drug dealer Frank Lucas. When Combs was only 2 years old, his father was found shot by sitting in the car on Central Park West. Now it was said that his mother had to do whatever she had to do to take care of Diddy. Now whatever she did alright, because she ended up sending him to Howard University, but he left after his second year. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. He became an intern at New York's Uptown Records. While working as a talent director up under the guidance of label founder Andre Harrell, he helped develop artists like Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. He was rubbing elbows with Heavy D. I mean, he already had a reputation for throwing some of the most outlandish parties, but this is where it all began.
I saw like the people behind the scenes and I was like, that's maybe something that I wanted to do. So I started like asking questions and getting information on the music industries. I know like music, my eye besides just looking at the rap and saying, okay, one day I want to be Heavy D, one day I want to be LL Cool J. I was kind of looking at like, okay, one day I want to be like Russell Simmons, or I want to be like Berry Gordy or Quincy Jones. I had asked around and then I was just like, I just want to do whatever I have to do to learn. So I started going to people saying I just wanted to intern for them. First I went to Rush and they didn't really have in the room. That's Russell Simmons. Then finally a friend of mine, Heavy D, was on a label called Uptown Records with the owner of that was Andre Harrell. And so he hooked up a meeting with me and Andre Harrell and I just basically asked if I was told him I'd do anything. I was in school, I was in college at Howard University in DC. And they said that I could work for 2 days, Thursday and Fridays.
The tenacity pays off. Young Sean Combs is on his way. Not only does he have the vision to being one of the biggest moguls of our time, he also have the resources to match. Having a mentor as Andre Harrell only stamps it.
Jodeci tonight, Mary J. Blige, and Father MC. And all put together by, first this man in the middle here, and then he's passed it on to, I guess his son, Protege. Yes. Puffy. Yes. Tell me a little bit about this man and why you like working with him.
Because, you know, he's not intimidated by youth, you know what I'm saying? He knows the importance of leaving a legacy behind. We need more adults out there that's going to teach the young, such as myself, and, you know, basically leave a legacy behind, leave something behind, you know.
And Andre, tell me a little bit about, if you didn't know, the Andre Harrell over here in the middle, and people have been talking about you, I've been reading about you in the New York Times, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out here that hadn't heard of you before, but then saw that article in the Times and said, okay, young man's doing something. But you know, this guy always asks me what's my age. You want to know what everybody's doing, how old they are. Andre, what's happening? Tell me about the new ventures that are going on at MCA.
Well, what we did, we just made a vertically integrated deal, which means that we do film, television, and records. And what we are able to do now is take our record stars and cross them into television and film, like a Heavy D. He'll have a television show next year and a film the following year.
Andre Harrell, Puff Daddy. See y'all in a minute.
When Sean P. Diddy Combs and Andre Harrell started working together, it did something amazing. It was like fusing old school and new school together, giving their label a powerful dynamic. Uptown was probably one of the hottest record labels around at the time. Kim Porter was a receptionist. Now, it is said that she got the job just off the humbug of Al B. Sure. It is said that they were dating around the time. And the thing that makes this story a little ironic is the fact of the matter that Heavy D was not only the one that introduced Sean Puffy Combs to Andre Harrell, he also was the one to introduce Kim Porter to Al B. Sure. He just always felt like they were a good match. It is so crazy. Let's take a look at this particular clip.
He actually came up to me and he was like, Kim, do you want to meet Al B. Sure? And I'm like, yeah. He was nice. He was very genuine and sweet and compassionate. And those are the things that I fell in love with.
Now, Kim Porter and Al B. Sure had what you call a whirlwind romance. The song Forever My Lady was not only penned by Al B. Sure, but it was actually inspired by their relationship, especially when she got pregnant.
Started to write the song, Forever My Lady, and it was about Kimberly. The song was about Kim. So you had my baby, it means so much to me.
And I remember they were working on the song and they couldn't come up with the lyrics. And Al looked at me and he was like, so you're having my baby. And I was like, ah!
And just like that, young Quincy was born. Now, it was said by Kim and Al B. Sure that their relationship was always filled with love. But at this time, Al B. Sure was a young heartthrob. And I just don't think he was in a position to be a great boyfriend or a great dad.
Yeah, his mom was, my first love. Right. When I brought her here from Columbus, Georgia to New York, and we made an amazing, amazing young man.
Now, in '91, when Kim Porter and Al B. Sure decided to call it quits, this was also around the time when Sean P. Diddy Combs and Heavy D was hosting their first annual charity basketball game. This was probably one of the hottest tickets around at this particular time. Diddy was already known for throwing some great-ass parties at Howard University, and Heavy D, he was already making a name for himself when it came down to the music industry. And then this happened.
Started out as a basketball match between rap stars. The Heavy D and Puff Daddy charity basketball game benefit.
What happened? We got a lot of people here dead in the gymnasium, please. See, the problem is that there's people inside the gymnasium that does not have no pulse and is not breathing.
Now, Sean Combs faced a lot of backlash for that tragic event. It was said that only X amount of tickets were supposed to be sold. But greed set in, and he sold so many tickets that it endangered the capacity level at the charity event, resulting in like 9 fatalities. Now, because of this, a lot of people speculated that this was one of the reasons why he was let go from Uptown Records. But Andre Harrell, he said that was not the case.
You fired him, which is fascinating because you kept this relationship and you worked with him.
But
when
I fired him, it was like I had an artist in the building, right? Because Puff, as an executive, he really is a very artistic guy. He can make videos, he can style. So I started to branch out in the movies and the television. So then Puff wouldn't really listen to anybody but me. So my full-time job became managing Puff. And I was doing other things. So even when I let Puff go, for the whole time he was let go, he was always on payroll. I never stopped paying him until he found his next spot. His artists were always still getting per diem. Because I didn't do it to hurt him, but I knew it was time for him to grow. And the only way he could grow was if he was going to have the same kind of corporate conversations that I was subjected to.
Now, in '93, after losing his dream job, you would have thought that would have been enough to discourage the young Sean Combs. However, it did the complete opposite. It made him hungrier. It made him work harder, bringing him closer and closer to that vision that he encompassed. Now, somewhere in that same year, he was dating on again, off again girlfriend Missa. Now, we do not know the complete dynamic of their relationship, how they met, how serious it was. All we remember is that she came into the picture, and since then, she has never left. Now, there's been a lot of rumors and things speculating from this whole union. Now, after Justin was born, I mean, everybody could see that he did not look like Sean P. Diddy Combs. Now, there was a bodyguard who used to be very, very close friends with Sean Combs, and he went by the name Wolf. Now, a lot of people were saying that Missa and Wolf actually had an alleged affair before Diddy came into the picture. Now, I gotta agree with you. When I look at Justin Combs and then I look at the bodyguard Wolf, I can honestly say that I do see some very striking resemblance. Whatever the case, I think we can all agree that when it comes down to Sean Combs, he has played a very pivotal role when it comes down to the upbringing of Justin Combs. Now, I really don't think that it matters at this point if he is his biological father or not. I think since day one, you know what I'm saying, Diddy has always looked at Justin as his own son. So look, we just gonna leave it as that. Now, whatever secrets that Missa or Sean Combs might have in regards to the true paternity of Justin Combs' father, look, you know what I'm saying, I'm just hoping that it don't hurt Justin later on in life. Now, after losing his job and having a brand new baby boy, Bad Boy Entertainment was formed, and he had two of the hottest artists on his roster out of the gate. We're talking the late Craig Mack and the late Notorious B.I.G. Now, it's one thing to have two of the hottest artists on your roster out of New York, but it's another thing when you add the marketing genius of Sean Puffy Combs with it. He introduced this thing called the Big Mac. It had Biggie Smalls on one side and Craig Mack on the other. And I mean to tell you, this whole movement went crazy as hell. Craig Mack was actually expected to do way better numbers than the Notorious B.I.G., but somewhere down the line, things got lost in the sauce. And after having a couple of hit singles under his belt, it was like, as the Notorious Big started to incline, Craig Mack started to decline. It didn't matter though, because Bad Boy Entertainment was here, and they would be the first of many on the roster.
Bad Boy Entertainment. I named it Bad Boy because I wanted to go against the grain. Anytime you go against the grain, they consider you like kind of bad. Nothing negative, nothing like hardcore. Just, I didn't want to be regular. I didn't want to just make records. I didn't want to just make money. I wanted to make history. And that's all it's ever been about for me, making history. And making music that's timeless. Music that's going to be around when I'm not here, when my kids ain't here. Music that is that good. And having artists and videos and things that, you know, really affect a way of life in a positive way. Affect style, fashion, music. Bad Boy.
Bad Boy took off, and when I say took off, I mean it took off like a rocket. Not only was Sean Combs one of the hottest record producers around, he was also one of the greatest entrepreneurs around as well. Sean John clothing had just dropped, and everybody was rocking it. Everybody had it on in their videos. You can honestly say that Diddy's career was heating up. Not only was his career heating up, but his love life was heating up as well. 3 years from the divorce from Al B. Sure, Kim Porter finally decided to give Diddy a chance. Now, a lot of people was kind of surprised by this whole union, only because Kim Porter was very classy, laid back. She was a country girl, and here you have the bad boy from New York. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people didn't really understand that fusion, but then it seemed to work. So everything seemed to be going right for Diddy. I mean, his career, his clothing, his record company, everything was taking off. That is, until he had Christopher Wallace, aka Notorious B.I.G., accompany him on a trip to LA. This was a trip that no one wanted them to take. This was a time where the East Coast and the West Coast beef was at an all-time high. It was at its peak. So many people tried to dissuade Puffy not to attend this trip. Even Notorious B.I.G. had revelations himself. However, they still ended up going back to Cali. Now, Sean Combs' security detail, Gene Deal, he was getting a lot of telephone calls throughout the day, saying that it was absolutely not safe for the Notorious Big or Sean Combs to be in LA. No matter how many times that Gene Deal tried to approach Diddy with this information, he was constantly ignored. Now, a lot of people saying that it was rumored that Notorious B.I.G. was on the way out from Bad Boy. There was a lot of things that was not right with the paperwork. Here you have one of the greatest rappers of all times, and he can barely provide. He can barely feed his family. That's when everybody right then and there started to know that the Diddy that we knew wasn't the Diddy when it came down to business or paperwork. But before Notorious Big can get any of that squared away, he tragically lost his life before he can even leave LA. Now, the thing that was so ugly about this particular situation is that Diddy wasn't even there to even greet Miss Wallace. He wasn't even there to greet Miss Wallace. Before she can even touch down and get into LA completely, this man Puffy was already on a private jet all the way back to New York, and things was just not making sense. He paraded his death around for monetary gain, and it was at that particular times when rumors started to swell. Rumors started saying that he was responsible for not only Tupac's death, but the Notorious B.I.G.'s as well.
I'm chilling at the Beverly Hills Hotel and everything, just chilling. I get a phone call, say, yo, we going to the party. I say, we going to the party? Yeah, we going to the party. So then limousine picked me up. I come in the house. So I'll come through the front. I don't come through the back. I come through the front, Paul right there. I say, Paul, I gotta talk to Puff. He said, what's up? I said, them niggas are coming to kill us tonight. You understand? Now, I done had a conversation with D-Rock. You understand? I had a conversation with Kirk Burrows, head of security. I had a conversation with Paul. You understand? About this. He said, so you gonna tell Puff? I said, yeah, I'm gonna tell Puff. So Puff come, I call Puff. He said, yeah, Gene. He's at the top of the steps. And I said, yo, Puff, I got some intel. Hey, what? I said, yo, some dudes gonna come and kill us tonight. They come to this party, they come to get us tonight. He says to me, Gene, I don't wanna hear that shit. If you don't wanna go, you ain't gotta go. Now, as far as I know, it's only 3 guns in the room. There's only 3 guns in the room. And all 3 of them are owned by me. Brother, I'm like this, yo, I got some information, bro, you know. Not only shit Unique told me, he called from a Fed joint. You know, Chaz told me that it's gonna go down, some shit gonna go down tonight, bro. It's gonna be some, you know, maybe it ain't gonna be no, what he said? He said, it ain't gonna be no industry niggas. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said. This ain't gonna be no industry shit. There's some shit gonna go down right there. So then I talked to my man who was with Jodeci. And Jodeci wasn't coming to the party. You understand? And he said, man, y'all shouldn't go to the party either. He wouldn't elaborate or get into it, but you could tell from the conversation that wasn't a bad thing. That wasn't a good thing for us to do. So now, something just came over me and I just started beating the table after I hung up the phone. And D-Max said, what's wrong with you? I said, man, these niggas come to kill it. Y'all niggas laughing and joking like it's a fucking joke or something like that. Y'all playing like it's a joke. These niggas gonna finna come at us today. He talking about, we lock and load together. We lock and load together. I said, I don't see none of you niggas locking. I don't see none of you niggas loading nothing. Got up from the table, walked outside. Guess who outside? The Notorious Big, D-Rock, Lil C's. So this is the first time I've seen Lil C's all week. Other than the day when Big was leaving the hotel, after they got, you know, put out the hotel for the fights and shit like that, the first time I seen those C's. So I said, yo, Big, some niggas gonna try to come kill us tonight, bro. Lil C say out his mouth, go ahead on with that old cop shit, Gene. You think you know everything. And I told that little nigga, I said, nigga, I know one thing. You need to get you a GED where they don't cheat you out your money like they did your man right here. You know what I'm saying? Talking to Big. That's when Big said to himself, Big said to me, yo, Gene, go ahead with that bullshit before I have Tone and D-Rock hold you while Lil C's get his shit off. And I said, all that shit sound good, it may make you feel good, but it won't be healthy. And next you know, Puff was coming out the door, said, come on, let's go. I think they only had 12 bottles of champagne left when we got there. And Puff told them to bring them all the champagne that they had left. So, got a few bottles, started giving to the girls on the other table that you can't see from the pictures we in. So then, Big told Lil C's to go try to find some smoke. You understand? So, Puff went up to the DJ booth. I'm with Puff all the time. So then Puff comes back and he said, yo, Gene, stay next to Big. right? So when he said stay next to Big, I took my gun out and put it up under my shirt and kept my hand behind my back like that. And D-Rock came over to me, he said, yo, Gene, I ain't never seen you look like this, nigga. I said, this shit is serious, nigga, it's gonna go down. It's gonna go down. Next thing you know, we hear the fire department is shutting down the place. So they turned the music off and everything, the fire department is walking through. I said, let me go downstairs and move the trucks in front of the door where we came in. So when Lil C said we was waiting on our trucks, no, you wasn't waiting outside, because when you got outside, those trucks was right there. We were going slow because Big was taking his time because the nigga couldn't hardly walk. He couldn't hardly walk. So now, they get in the car. So I'm thinking we about to leave, because we never stay at no spot once people get loaded up. Then Puff all of a sudden said, oh, Paul and them ain't got their car out yet. When have you ever cared about that shit? Let them motherfuckers catch up. Let's get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? They got cell phones. They know where we going, because they had made it their mind to go to Steve Stout's house up in the hills. Now, it was 23 of us. Don't you know it was about, I think, 11 or 12 of us that left? The other niggas had left, knowing the situation. They had already left the party. It was all love in the party. That's what Lil C said. You understand? But 12 of our guys had left the party. Feel me? So now, we get in the car, Puff still going to get girls, talking about, Gene, remember her, Gene, remember her. I'm like, yo, Big, what the fuck is going on, man? We need to get the fuck up out of here. Then Big said, that's your man. So now, we move to the driveway. Now, Big is right here behind us. No, so now this guy comes over here. He has a blue and white shirt on, right? And he's coming from the direction where the Muslim guy came from. He's coming from there, and he just stops. And then he just walks through. Now, about 5 minutes later, the Muslim guy come down there, right? When he comes out, he stops. He seems like he's going towards Puff car, then he stops. Because I pull my gun, I take my gun from under my shirt and pulls it down. And we look at each other, and the motherfucker just turned around and went back down the street. So now we move on to the street. We come out the driveway and move on to the street. Puff is right here, Big is right there. Now Paul and them pulls up in back of us. Across the street is Big's friend who was at the house with us in a white Land Cruiser. So now I tell Paul and them, I'm in front of Big's them car. Big them is talking to the girls them right there. I say, yo, Paul, follow us. We about to get out of here. He say, yeah, all right. So he tells Big them, yo, we about to get out of here and everything. We right there, they can hear us, have a conversation. So now I get and try to get on top of the car, you know, like on the side of the car like the CIA does and everything like that. And Puff said, yo, Gene, get in the car or you ain't gonna work no more for Bad Boy, this, that, and I'm like, yo. So when I got in the car, I said, yo, Kenny, run the next 3 lights. It was a flashing red light. If you check the specs at that time and that night, the FBI will tell you that light was a flashing red light. We blew the light. When we blew the light, Big them didn't come behind us. So we stopped on the other side of the street. We stopped on the other side of the street. Tone said somebody pointing a gun at Big them. Somebody pointing a gun at Big them because he could see, because Tone is behind me. I'm sideways, you know, my legs is facing the driver because Puff had pulled his seat all the way back. I'm like, man, what the fuck is you doing? You understand? So me and him just had a heated argument. So I guess this, you know, he trying to show something to me. He tried, you know, he trying to like get at me like, yo, all right, fuck you then, nigga. I'm gonna make your legs hurt or some shit like that. So I'm sideways like that. So When he said they got a gun up here, I goes to open the door. Next thing you know, we heard pop, 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 pop.
Although there were numerous rumors circulating around, Sean Combs was completely untouchable. He went on to live his best life, capitalizing handsomely off the death of his best friend. Somewhere within 1999, he began dating singer, model, and actress Jennifer Lopez. Now, Jennifer Lopez and Sean Combs' relationship, the whole history is completely messy. In addition to infidelity, there's a shooting, police chase, and a whole bunch of disastrous romantic gestures. In December of 1999, Combs, Lopez, his bodyguard Wolf, and rapper Sean were involved in a disagreement at Club New York in Manhattan that ended with gunfire and left 3 people injured. Now, Combs, Lopez, and Wolf left the club and led police on a chase throughout New York City that ended with the police finding a stolen gun inside the car. Now, the thing that was so tragic about this situation is that they left Sean at the club to take the fall.
Combs' latest run-in with the law started at Times Square's Club New York, just after 2 o'clock Monday morning. Based on an eyewitness account, prosecutors say Combs, partying with girlfriend and actress Jennifer Lopez, got into an argument with someone. That person reportedly then threw a stack of money in Combs' face. Prosecutors then say one of Combs' associates, 19-year-old Jamal Barrow, also known as the rapper Shine, opened fire, while Combs reportedly pulled out a pistol of his own.
The fact that Mr. Combs has been arrested is because some person alleges that he had a gun.
Combs and Lopez fled the club, speeding away in his chauffeured Jeep. 3 people inside the club were injured, 2 of them critically, including a young woman with a bullet lodged in her cheek. Police say a high-speed chase involving Combs, Lopez, and 2 of his men riding up front spanned 20 blocks up 8th Avenue, through at least 11 red lights.
Now, Diddy held a press conference in regards to his involvement in the shooting. And just like extreme Diddy fashion, he looked right at the media, looked them in their eyes, and lied.
Charges and allegations against me are 100% false, and I feel confident that in the next couple of days that I'll be vindicated and everything will be all right.
Now, since the beginning, Sean has always made it a point to prove his innocence. It was so many victims, even one of the alleged victims from the shooting that night, went on to say that Sean was not the person that shot her.
Shine's muzzle flash was a little higher. He was on the side closest to the bar. Puffy's muzzle flash was a little lower, and he was on the side closest to where I was, straight ahead from me. I watched them both fire their guns. I watched them. I got hit right here, in my nose, in between my eyes, which means I'm facing directly at you. Just like I'm looking at you, and I can tell you got on black shades. They kind of look like Gazelles and an Adidas shirt. That's exactly how I was looking at him. And I watched him shoot me.
How do you call a witness to testify against your comrade? I'm facing 25 years, and you looking at probation. Yeah, those are the things that, you understand, are unacceptable. You don't have to hold my hand. You don't have to do nothing, but don't try to hurt me.
Jamal Sean Barrow would be the first of many to fall victim to Diddy's sadistic ways. It's crazy as hell that you would give a person complete loyalty, and when you need it back from him, the loyalty is completely non-existent.
And trust me, everybody else knew what happened too. You know how many people in the club were talking about this all around New York? Everybody knew he did it. Everybody knew he did it. If you look in the comments on all of these video blogs and podcasts that are online, you'll see people that say, oh, I was in the club that night. We knew he did it. Everybody knew he did it. So this is not just my word. They just had the power, the influence, and the money to get around town and shut people down and pay them for their silence. I personally know people who were paid for their silence. Personally. And that doesn't make me feel good, but I know they were.
It seems to me that the people that remains in close proximity of Sean John Combs normally does not have a great outcome. Over the years, he's been tied to so many different allegations, and we're going to hear from some of those people. In part 2, buckle your seatbelts, because some of the things that's going to be said is going to be things that you have never heard before.
Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim was the longest working employee because she was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead.
Yeah.
Andre Harrell is dead. The only two left are Puffy and Al almost died.